sectioning. Here you can see the sides. We got that top, middle, and nape, and the opposite side. We're going to start right at the nape section, head pointed down, vertical section. We're going to use this scooping technique. I like to call it gravity layering, continuous movement of the shears. You could see us going into a C scooping motion. There's a slow-mo, C scooping motion to your desired length. This is going to be continuous movement of the shears, removing a ton of weight. And collapsing the length and establishing exactly where you want it to be. From there, this is going to be traveling. You can see the guide, continuously moving those shears into a C shape. And we're going to work right through that nape area for about 2-3 sections, and then we're going to over direct a little bit to the previous. Preserve a little bit more length on the sides. Over direct a little bit, again, gravity layering, scooping technique. Last section, over direct a bit, and there you go. We're going to repeat the same on the opposite side. Gravity layering technique. And this is all about your feel. Once you get used to this technique, you're going to create your own style. You just have to keep doing it. This is a great way to create a lived-in, soft type texture and to keep the length exactly where you want it to be. Last couple sections, we're going to over direct and continue the same technique. And there you go. Nape 1, zone 1 is finished. And you can detail that perimeter as much as you want. Zone 2, vertical sections. We're going to use the guide from zone 1. Let's start with a central vertical section. And let's grab that guide from underneath. And we are going to connect it. You know, whatever your shape that you're trying to achieve here, you can do some disconnection if you want to, or you can connect it 100%. So the first couple sections I connected completely, and now the third section I'm going to go ahead and do a little more gravity layering. This is a looser type feel, and I'm going to start over directing at the round of the head. This will preserve a little more length behind the ear and create a little more flexibility and versatility. Last section, over directing, gravity layering. You can clearly see the guide, and there you go. Same on the opposite side. We're going to be palm to palm here. We're going to make that connection. Follow our guide. Our first 2 or 3 sections, we are going to completely connect. And then we'll start getting into some gravity layering after that, right about now. And again, this is going to create a more looser feel. Really like the shape that this gives here. And you're going to customize this to the shape of your client's head. Over directing is going to preserve a little more length again behind the ear. Last section, and there you go. Okay, we're going to go to the sides. I like to call this 2A. Gravity layering, this will be a traveling guide. We have the guide from the previous section we just cut in section zone 2. We're going to use that as our starting point. We're going to do this gravity layering. You can see the guide, and we're going to establish the length that we want. So I want to create this guide right past her ear. Somewhere around there I want the length to be. So that's where I finished. We're going to continue to travel toward the hairline using this gravity layering technique. And here you go. Working it right through. You can see how my elevation of my left hand comes right down as the scissors come down. They move simultaneously. So I established my length, and I'm also removing all that weight. Continually moving toward the hairline in the same manner. And there you go, last section, and remove all that weight. Look at that beautiful feel you get there. Okay, we found our guide from zone 2, and again, you can see how my fingers are going like a bowling ball on my left hand, straight up, getting control, finding the guide, and using that continuous motion of the scissor. Traveling right towards the hairline. Establishing exactly the length that you want on the sides. And last section. And then we can check for balance here once we tweak this out a little bit. Yep, just check for balance. Make sure there's nothing too heavy. Now we're going to go to the transition zone, or zone 3. This is a great way to either connect 100%, or you can leave this area longer. A little more disconnection to go over the crown and touching the occipital. In this case, we decided to connect completely and cut into a round cutting line. This will be a stationary guide. Everything's going to the middle, over directing to the center and cutting. And the same on the opposite side. Vertical sections, over directing to center, and follow your guide and cut. This will help us merge from the back to the top. All right, now we're going to grab a little of that section that we just cut. We're going to comb it into that top section, because that will be our guide. We're going to use pivot point cutting, starting with a central vertical section. We have our guide right from that top area, top crown, and we are going to cut a line following the head shape all the way through to the hairline. There's the guide. Just take a little at a time and continue to follow the guide and follow that head shape all the way through. Right to the hairline. Now you establish your guide for both sides. That is our pivot point. Now we're going to take pivoting high sections. And we're just going to over direct to the previous cut section. There it is, cut to the previous pivoting section. Follow the contour of the head all the way through to the hairline. Another pie section, over directing just to the previous section.
Roll the dice, birds.
This is going to create connection at the crown and longer disconnection toward the hairline. Again, more movement, more versatility. Last section, we are going to bring it to the previous and continue in these pie sections, pivot point cutting. Alright, same exact thing on the opposite side, pivoting sections from that center guide that we created. Here's our first pivot. We're going to over direct to the previous cut and follow the contour of the head. Another pie section, over direct to the previous. And again, what this is doing is we are having 100% connection at the top crown, and then we are creating some disconnection and longer hair at the front hairline. Softer. Last section, over direct to the previous, and cut. All right, now we're going to cross check. Just take horizontal section starting at that top crown, bring it straight up, do a little point cutting or slither cutting. Anything heavy, I'm going to point cut out of the way and work through that area. Now it is time for the fringe. We're going to lay the comb right on top of the head and section to the corner of each eye. This is our section for our fringe. We're going to section away everything else. We're going to work side by side, little small triangles we're going to start with. We're going to create our center guide with a small triangle. You're going to see me come right over the top. And I'm going to do these little cuts, little C cuts to create a nice soft guide. From there, we are going to do diagonal sections. Bring it straight to the center, and we are going to blend the short area to the long area with continuous movement of the scissors. Again, another diagonal section, comb it right to the center, and connect. This is creating a really beautiful moving fringe. Diagonal section on the opposite side. There's your guide, and connect. Same thing. And last section. So again, this creates a really nice loose feel. I love what's happening already. And now let's remove a little more weight. We're going to come right from the back of it. And again, continuously moving the scissors, removing more weight, creating a beautiful shape. Now we're going to get the internal layering of it, central vertical section, and I am just going to slide cut whatever I want out of the way. That'll be a guide, and that'll be a stationary guide. Everything will be over directed to that center guide. Same thing on the opposite side. This is going to create a little more internal layering and lighten up that whole fringe area, create more wispiness and movement. Perfect to complete this pixie shag. All right, you could already see how this is coming alive. We're just going to do a little bit of diffuser with a little curls and waves by Goldwell. just want a really natural, organic type of styling on her today. I want to really show that Pixie shag off, create a really natural feel. And now we can refine and detail anything you see heavy, some of that disconnection you might want to work on. And let's finish with Goldwell Accentuating Cream for the finish. Again, beautiful lived in Pixie shag, a little longer than our normal shag. This is a great haircut, very behind the chair friendly.
And here you have it, everybody, a lived-in longer shaggy Pixie. This is a great way to transition for someone who might have a bob and is super bored, but wants something a little fresher, something a little fun. It has a ton of movement, and I just really like this lived-in type of feel happening. You can see a very textured bang, a little flippy over here. You know, you can customize this haircut in any which way you want, but it's got a nice shape, still tapers at the bottom, and again, you could use their natural hairline or not. We have gravity layering, we have pivot point, and we have disconnection. I hope you love